Hi there guys, it's Wavig Master here from CreatorImpact.com. In today's video we're going to be looking at the graphic design service Penji, which is basically a service where you pay a fee starting at about $400 a month to get unlimited designs through one or two designers, that sort of thing, with the option to basically get all sorts of designs done for you, such as social media designs, flyers, logos, images, illustrations if you get the right package, and allows you to sort of have your own in-house designer you can ship things off to, and they'll get back to you with work throughout the month. Now, I've been granted access to Penji, but haven't actually ordered anything yet. So what I've decided to do in this video is we're going to follow through as the process goes. We're going to record and just see exactly how it all runs, and we're going to do a few projects. Some are going to be designed specifically for Penji, some are going to be for me, and some are actually going to be for clients of mine. So that way we get a full range of how it works, the quality of the designs, and what you're going to expect if you're going to go through Penji. And the thing is, I've got to have a bit of a tight lens on it because I've been a web designer and graphic designer for almost 20 years now. I've been doing this professionally. I've got my own business for the past 5 years, which is my main business, along with what I do here on YouTube and with the affiliate marketing and digital products. And I thought this would be a great service for people to check out, and I'm very interested in this myself personally. So I'm going to be giving it a good critique on what I think the pros and cons are, basically, of this program. So we're going to jump on the computer, I'm going to go through a few bits and pieces, and we'll follow through on the projects we submit. So cool, let's get onto it and go from there. Okay, so I thought I'd start off by actually going to the website and showing you exactly what we're looking at here. So this is the Penji website. Tired of overpaying for graphic design, so you can see they're basically here because they want to give people a budget-friendly solution to getting design work done. And you can see here there's pricing and a demo. I do recommend, if you want to check it out, check out that demo using the link in the description below. But you can see it's been featured in a few big organizations, that sort of thing. Create projects, you get revisions, and when you're finished, you download. So these are some of the sort of examples, and you can go through and check these out. Looks like a pretty promising service. So to give you an idea on the pricing, at the time of recording this video, you can see here, so Pro, graphic design only, you get $399 a month, unlimited projects, but you get access to one designer, so clients are unlimited brands. It's a pretty cool, pretty nifty sort of thing. So it could be if you're an agency and you want to resell, or maybe you're a business that just needs someone to do designs for them. And then of course you've got the team option, so you've got more than one designer by the looks of it, because it hasn't actually stated anything here. $499 a month, you get illustrations as well, infographics. So yeah, and then of course there's agency, everything in team, two designers. There you go, you must only get one designer, I should say. Everything in Pro, two designers, 10 users, prioritized support. So pretty cool, no contracts. It looks like there's a lot of good reviews. Obviously they're not only going to post the good reviews, but anyway, we'll get on, we'll have a chat, and we'll have a look at some of the projects we're going to be doing, and have a look. Okay, so I'm logged into the Penji account, partner account. I'm not the only person using this, so a few things blurred out. We're going to create a new project. I'm going to give the project a title, which is based on the way they wanted me to structure it, since it is a partner account. It's not my own personal account, and we also share this one account. But I've got to come up with a design brief to explain essentially what it is that we're after. So this first project is going to be a bit of a character illustration, a vector file, which is a file that is scalable, something like a print any size, doesn't lose quality, of a character for Electra Sheep Dojo. And Electra Sheep Dojo is actually, I've used some of the music in the past on videos that I've done, but it's basically a lo-fi beat music creator, a friend of mine named Michael Ridgway, and he creates some pretty cool music, and we wanted to create an emblem for his channel. Now I was going to do this, but I thought we agreed to do this on Penji to see what kind of result we get. So I've put a bit of a brief there. We want to try and be as thorough as possible. So I've described, I want a sheep who's going to be levitating, lightning coursing between his hands, a straw hat, like an oriental straw hat, and like a tattered cape flapping in the breeze. Kind of like Raiden from Mortal Kombat, but a few little differences. So I've typed up this brief, and I've also attached some images to basically show them what I'm looking for. The first is a style, basically a general style of what I want. So I want it to kind of have the same appearance, nice thick lines, a mean look, vector image, nice and cartoony. I've also attached a picture of a straw hat, which I probably didn't need after all this, but I ended up popping it in there. So something just to show them what I meant when I said straw hat. And then I've popped in a picture of Raiden and a pose I want him to use, more or less, where he's sort of levitating, hands out, sort of like a power pose with him about to attack. With the difference being, I don't want his arms to be the way they are. So I've put another image in there called lightning hands. So the kind of effect I was looking for in regards to the sheep having lightning coursing between his hands. So I've given him these 4 images and a brief, and we're going to see what they come back with. So we go through, we tell them exactly what we're looking for. I add this brand in there, and we're basically good to see what they come up with. Now you get taken to this nice little chat, so that way you get to track the job itself. So now we're going to step back, give these guys a few days or whatever it takes to get something back to us. So let's see what they come up with. Okay, so the guys have gotten back to us and they've sent us through this rough sketch before they go ahead and vectorize. Now, if you're ever getting any kind of illustration done, this is generally what's going to happen because vectorizing is a lot of work. But I actually really like what they've done. I thought this pretty much, it wasn't what I had imagined, but it was pretty good. So I sent it through to the guy, to Michael at Electric Sheep Dojo, and he loved it too, with the only addition being he wanted more of a samurai style helmet sort of on top instead of the straw hat that we originally envisioned. So then they basically told us that they're going to go ahead and vectorize and then add the hat on. So this is then what they got back to us with when they vectorized the image. Now I thought this wasn't bad, but definitely not quite what we wanted in the sense of, obviously the color, we want to change the color a little bit and bring in a bit more highlights. And I spoke to Michael again and we've decided to ask for something a little bit more blue. So they were able to then update the image to this image, which I thought looked pretty good. It was pretty solid, however, also still wanted a few more fades and gradients in there just to bring it to life a little bit to make it stand out. So then they finally got back to us with this final image. Now, being a graphic designer myself, there was definitely more I personally wanted to see. I started to get a little bit probably nitpicky just from my angle, but when I actually showed this to Michael at Electric Sheep Dojo, he actually liked it and was happy to go ahead with it. So we decided on this. However, I did add a little bit to it myself just to try and just to give it a little bit of life. I didn't change the actual illustration, but I did create this for his profile just to give it a little more depth and just to get it to stand out a little bit more. So that's our final result. But before we move on to the next one, let us know what you think about this in the comments. Anything you would like to change or like to see, I'd love to hear what your thoughts are, just for the sake of the video and to get the conversation moving. But now we're going to move on to our next project. So this time we're going to be looking at an Instagram post, but not just an Instagram post, but also an Instagram carousel. Now you may notice when you're actually ordering this job, there's an option to choose an Instagram post there, which makes it pretty easy. Now I've wanted to take an old blog post of mine, which I'm going to show up here on screen, and turn that into a carousel. So what I did, because they can't write the content for me, is I have actually attached a text document of what information I want on the slide, which is this here. And I've given them just a little bit of a layout of what I want. So I've been a little bit more specific. And I've also laid out my brand guidelines, things like fonts, my logo, and giving them as much information as I can to make sure that they can, get the look that I'm actually after. So this is the first draft they sent back to me. I'm actually fairly happy with it. I do believe I actually asked for the first slide after this to be more of a full strength photo. But the rest of it's actually pretty solid. It has stuck to my brand guidelines, which I liked, which is, that real high contrast black and white color. And they've followed everything to the T. Everything matches my brand and my look, as even the fonts and everything are exact. One thing I did notice is I deliberately left some typos in there to see if they'd pick them up. It's not necessarily their job to do that, but I thought I'd try it anyway. And they didn't pick them up, so I did have to ask them to change those. So what I've done, I've actually gone into the chat then this time, and I'm just sort of backtracking, showing you a little bit of a situation I had trying to just communicate one little thing, which was with that initial proof here, I rather would have the black fading either side of the box. So I just tried to explain that to them quickly. and they were pretty good about it, but I think they kind of got the wrong idea and just faded the box instead of either side. So we did have a little bit of a back and forward trying to work out what it is we wanted. At one stage I sent through a few options. So here were some of the options. And it got to the point where we did have to back and forth a little bit, but finally I sent through the right one. I was able to say it's this one here. And what's really cool is when you have this open, you can actually click and make notes. Now it says here John Moxley because that is who the account is set under, even though that's not my name. But it's really cool that you can actually click on areas and just say, you know, shave his head or something like that. You can actually leave little notes on there. But we finally were happy when we got this, and they were able to then deliver the final one through to us, which looks like this. Now I'm pretty satisfied with that. It's honestly, I probably could have asked for more and really tried to get that creative energy out of there, but I was really kind of looking for a little bit more input. However, the actual approach, like the look with the fonts and how clean it is actually, there's nothing really wrong with it. It does the job, and it's definitely what I asked for. But yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing a little more creativity, but at the end of the day, you do get a good value for what you pay for, even if you are a paying customer. So I was pretty happy with this, and I actually will be posting it on Instagram soon, if it's not already up by the time you are viewing this video. But again, let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Now the third and final project is actually a logo for an old website I used to own called Fitness for Humans, which is completely gone now, but I thought to give you guys a look into what you can have done for a logo in terms of if you want something that's clean with an emblem. I thought I'd see what these guys could come up with. Now, when it comes to logo design, there's different levels to it. You can have the full package where you're spending thousands of dollars and people coming up with a really on-tack brand, that sort of thing, which is probably what you want to aim for eventually, to get a proper brand and logo done up by a really high-end professional. But this particular time, I thought it'd be good to explore what we can get done for something when, if you're on a budget but you still need to pay someone, let's see what these guys can come up with. So I've asked for a fitness logo, something for a website which is about strength training, nutrition, and I wanted something modern, and I was able to attach a few examples of what I wanted. Now the logos on the screen here are all fairly similar in the sense that they're all modern, they're all clean, very high contrast logos, and the emblems are all simple but unique. So this is essentially what I've asked for, except obviously I wanted to see if they could play possibly on the human aspect. But I basically just said, look, whatever you can think of, send it through and we'll see what you can come up with. Now the first design is not too bad. I did find it to be a little bit clunky. I like the idea of sort of, you know, the E with the 3 bars and that, but I sort of feel like it's just a bit too much, a little bit too full on. And like I said, some of the things are just a little clunky in the way that some of the angles are sort of cut and it's not very smooth. It's a little bit harsh on the eye, in my opinion, as a designer. The second logo is a bit better. I definitely feel it's the better of the two, but there was a few things I wanted to see. I wanted to see maybe a different font, a few different colors, and just to remove some stuff from the F, just to make it a little bit simpler. So what I've done is I've actually decided to pick this second design, and we're going to see if they can improve by changing the color a little bit and changing the font. I think I've asked mainly for the blue to start off with, so let's see what they've come up with. Now this I feel is much better. While it's not perfect, it does work pretty well. The thing I like about this logo, although you can't see it here, is that you can make the whole thing a single color and it's still going to stand out. And that's the hallmark of a good logo, is something that you can make that is single color and stands out. Although, you know, it's not perfect, I would probably still do things a little differently myself. I feel like it's a pretty good result, especially if you're not a designer and you're not really trying to perfect and spend thousands on your brand. This is a pretty good sort of result for a logo. Now, also what's really cool about this is the files you get. So we're just going to switch over and check out the files we get with the final logo. So when you're ready to download these files, in the chat, you can simply just click the download button and download the zip file, either of the mock-up or the full source file. Now, this is the logo. If I actually put this, you can see we've got that image we've already looked at. And then we've got a few other things here, such as fonts. So you can right click and install these fonts if you want to go into this source file here, which is an Adobe Illustrator file, and edit that. So if you do want to edit the file in Adobe Illustrator, that's great. Now you also have your final artwork here, an SVG and a PNG. So PNG, you're looking at some transparent images to use on your website. As I mentioned before, we do have the full color version here, which looks good, but the white version stands out well on its own, which is why I think it's not a bad logo. Matter of fact, I'd probably be more likely to use a single color version of this than the blue, but use it in a blue environment. SVG, now these, I could actually just open these in the normal viewer, but they're supposed to be vector versions of the file you can import onto your website. And I've got to say there's a few, it's not bad, but if you're looking at a logo, I would like, generally I would like to see at the very least supplied is for each variation of the logo and even the emblem by itself, PDF, AI, JPEG, and PNG. Like there's no PDF, the AI is here, but it's actually just this here. And actually when I opened it up, this background image wasn't there and I couldn't get it to display. So, but you can still go and edit the logo itself. And the final artwork, if you look in here, it's all the landscape format of the logo. But when you head back over here, you can see they've actually got a portrait version. If I open this up, they have a portrait version of the logo here. But you can't actually use a transparent PNG version of that. So I was a little disappointed when I realized that. But what I'm going to do, I'll actually open up this source file and we'll take a bit of a look at it and see what we can do with it. Now, as I mentioned before, there is a bitmap missing here, which is sort of the background of this image. It's not a big deal though. You can go, it's an Unsplash image. You can always just sort of search for this on Unsplash, download it, and then replace it if you really want that in there. But to be honest, it's not really what you need in this particular instance. I'm actually just going to ignore this. Can find another shot, ignore. So a few images weren't linked up. And it also says here we're missing a font, which is Chunk 5. I have installed that, but let's just forget about that for now. Although, if I switch back to our folder, I've got Chunk 5 print instead of Chunk 5 regular. So that is something I'm only just now discovering. I've been supplied the wrong font for that. But as I said, any of this stuff you can go back and ask for. But let's just forget about that for now. We're in here, we can zoom in. Now, of course, I can make this all white if I want to, just like any other file. It is an Adobe Illustrator file, and it's a vector. And the reason I want to open up is to show you, because it's a vector file, you can zoom in, and it never loses its quality. Because it's actually not, whereas bitmaps are made up of pixels, this is made up of sort of calculations and shapes, and so you can actually move and rearrange this any way you want. We can ungroup, and then we can say move this here, or even if you want to try something a little different, have it over here. You sort of get the idea. So you do have all the editing capabilities you would normally want to have with an AI file or a logo. So it's pretty handy. You got everything I think you truly need. Obviously though, if you don't have Adobe Illustrator or you don't have any of these tools, you're going to have to just ask the people for as many versions of the file as you can. So I do recommend going in and saying, hey, can I get every version of the file, including the landscape, the portrait? Can I get a PDF? Can I get EPS, AI, JPEG, PNG? I would actually suggest following up and asking for everything. And then check that the fonts you got are actually the correct fonts as well. So yeah, that's a look at that logo for Fitness for Humans. And I'll just move on. I've got a few more thoughts about this, which I'll share with you in a minute. Okay, so my final thoughts on Penji are pretty much, you're getting a lot of value for what you pay for, but it does depend on what you're looking for. So if you're looking for that really high-end design, something that's going to really take your brand to a global level, something that's really on that cutting edge, Penji's not necessarily going to be the tool for you. You're going to be looking for a pretty expensive designer, someone with a lot of experience who's going to charge based on that experience. However, Penji is great in the sense that you can output a lot of work. You're only paying a few $100s a month, but you're getting access to a designer. And if you're outputting a lot of designs, whether it be for social media or anything like that, it's going to be great for outputting those designs to a decent level. What I would recommend is really setting clear guidelines and brand guidelines so that if you're doing it for your business, you're going to get exactly what you want and it's going to look good. You can even say, try and get some guidelines together of, hey, look, this is what I like if you've done in the past. I'm sure the work will evolve over time where you'll get to what you want, but it's still not going to be that super high level you can get from a high level designer. But it's great. As a graphic designer, if I was to hire Penji, I don't know if I'd do it and just get the design sent straight to my client. I believe that the level I produce is higher than what I've received, just personally, and I think I would probably use it to mainly set up jobs to go in and tweak if I were to sign up for Penji and pay the money for it. Simple designs, I think it's great. The logo, I think you have to be really onto them about getting the files you want, getting everything the way you want it. But you're just going to have to, there's definitely some communication involved in getting what you want out of this service. Otherwise, I think it's great. It's great for pumping out a lot of social media products, a lot of flyers, a lot of graphics. So I do think Penji will be useful for most people who are online, who don't have the time or skills to do this stuff themselves. An excellent starting point. And if they happen to get your style and you're happy with it, you can just keep going on and on with their service. So that's my honest opinion on it. I do think it's a good service. I do think it's a lot of value. I just think it's for particular people. If you're looking for that high-end design, you're going to have to pay more. But if that's not in your budget, Penji could be a good solution just for getting a lot of simple and decent design done for your business. So if you want to check out Penji, I have a link in the description below. Also on the screen here, this is an affiliate link, so I do earn a commission if you go ahead and purchase. But as I said before, you've seen the results, you know what to expect. This is my honest opinion. So check it out if you want to. Check out their website. They've got some cool, they've got portfolio work there and some information. So hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, please consider giving it a like. Or subscribing if you want more like this. And of course, I want to hear your thoughts on this. What did you think of the designs? What are your thoughts? Will you have a look at Penji? Please leave a comment below with any thoughts or questions, and I would love to keep this conversation moving. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again next time.